for Chapter 5, and that is a promise that we will be discussing divinity, different faiths or different sects, and human life accordingly. So here we go. For instance, we can take that different sects emerged and provided a set of rules and expected all to follow. And that was a time that people kept on going with that, and might be they find following those rules really pleasant, and some might be finding it a burden upon themselves. So whatever the case may be, so what happens is the time moves on. There are a set of rules that remain static. The rules remain the same, but everybody knows that what is persistence in this universe is change. So as the time changes, the circumstances change, and hence a revision in the rules was called for. And die-hard practitioners or die-hard protagonists or die-hard exponents of a particular sect defied any drift from the mainstream what they follow, and try to prohibit others as well. But how could it be? Was that possible? Was it possible? It was not at all possible, because everybody seeks liberty and everybody wants liberty. So a sect should be a thing that provides liberty rather than providing bondage. And hence people are seeking liberty in these liberal times. But in those ancient times, people might not be seeking liberty and might be following a particular set of rules or some protocols just merely to satisfy the demands of the seeker who claimed to be connected to the supreme power. And just in order to prove that they are the true devotees of that supreme power, they vowed to follow those protocols. But these days, now you see what comes on. It's papacy that was prevailing throughout the world, and papacy from a particular country. That the papacy was going on and in its original manner, but now with the lapse of time coming adrift, and naturally as what is persistence change, now they too have to embrace change and now claiming to support LGBT, that is lesbian, gay, bisexuals, and transgenders. Now they are supporting them all, so there's nothing that they can do in this instance, because if they do not support them, so then they will not be supported by them either. So it's a give and take relationship. So in order to make a particular sect exist or persist, they need to comply with the change that nature has brought about, and definitely as nature is a representative of the Supreme, this means that Supreme wants this change, and you need to get adapted to that change and comply with that. And you cannot claim the protocols to be followed by people. Let the time change, let the time move on, and you'll be finding more and more drifts that the originality will be transformed to some other thing. So that will be only name, but the content is gradually drifting and will be ultimately transformed. Just as we know that energy changes its form, but does not vanishes to nowhere. So energy, like the sound energy, what I'm speaking now is the sound energy. Now, though the sound may vanish, but it will be in some or the other form present in the entire space and can be recovered in that particular form, and then can be decoded to its originality, and we can understand that what was the original speech. So this is my original speech, and that can be recovered from the space later on. The same goes true for anything or for any ideology, like some sects may be claiming something, but that was a point of time. But now the time has changed, the environment has changed, so definitely the protocols need to be revised according to the basic rules, definitely, if you want them to exist at all. But at some point of time, even if those basics are required to be eradicated, you will need to do that. Like, we take an example. This world was dominated by huge beings called dinosaurs. Now what happened? The time changed, the environment changed, and in order to make that existence continue, dinosaurs would require to comply to the change or make that change comply to themselves. Dinosaurs were incompetent or not competent to change the environment, or not to change or make the environment adapt to themselves. And neither they could adapt to the environment, and hence got extinct. So same will be the case with these ideologies and these sects if they do not comply to this change. This has to go on. So we can make efforts to procrastinate this change to a little later time, but we cannot preserve it for the infinity. So there is a limit to that, and we can exercise controls only up to that limit. And as we have always observed, and will be observing, that what is persistence is change. So change will continue, and even the papacy bows before this change that is brought about by the supreme power. So now you see, so what is persistence is change, and definitely there is, as according to my opinion, and according to the opinion of most of the people who I came across and discussed by the supreme power, that there is some supreme power for sure, may or may not be according to the type as defined by the different sects. Maybe a part of that is defined truly or truthfully in a particular sect, and the rest of us is missing out there. So might be or might be not. We cannot claim anything. And because we need to provide liberty to every school of thought, and so live and let live. So liberty to all, and we will be discussing the factual thing about the human existence and the mode they need to follow for a better living status, or for a better living environment. So we will be discussing it in chapter 6, like 6.